ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We are reading from the book Pramana Vicara, an inquiry into the nature of knowledge by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. We were in the middle of the section titled Tattvamasi, the equation. For continuity, we will start from the beginning of the section. Tattvamasi, the equation. The ultimate teaching of the Upanishad is the Jiveshvara Aikyam, or the oneness of the Jiva and Ishvara, revealed by the Mahavakyas like Tattvamasi. The Pramana Vicara, the subject matter of Vedanta Pramanam or the Upanishad, is Brahman, the Jagat Karanam, the cause of the entire universe. That Jagat Karanam Brahma Tvamasi, Tattvamasi, you are that. This is an equation between Brahman, the Jagat Karanam, the cause of this entire Jagat, and Jiva, the individual. Jagat includes all that is here, known and unknown. If there are lokas, other spheres of life, all of them are Jagat. It also includes your body-mind-sense complex. The Karanam, the cause of this entire Jagat, is Brahman, and that Brahman, Tvamasi, you are that Brahman. This is not clearly understood in the so-called modern Vedanta. Even in the tradition, there are contentions. Some traditional acharyas who are Vaidikas, who accept the Veda as a Pramanam, also have contentions. They say that Jagat Karanam Brahma is Jagat Karanam Brahma, not Tattvamasi, but Atattvamasi. In Sanskrit, when you add the prefix a, it's often negation, a or an, depending on whether the word starts with a consonant or a vowel. In fact, Madhavacharya says, Sa Atma Atattvam Asi. And there's a footnote here, because the Upanishad sentence is Sa Atma Tattvam Asi, which lends to breaking it as Sa Atma Atattvam Asi. There's a sandhi here. He seems to have taken it this way. That is his interpretation. According to him, Shastra says, you are not that. This is not correct. Why should Shastra make a statement like that? Everyone already knows I am not that. Shastra need not tell you what you already know. Some people interpret Tattvamasi as Tasyatvam Asi. You belong to that Jagat Karanam Brahma. There is nothing other than Brahman, but you are only a part of it, an Amsha. You have Amsha Amshi Bhava, a part in the whole relationship with Brahman. Just as Tarangah Samudraha. The wave belongs to the ocean. Na Samudraha, but it is not the ocean. However, the Upanishad Pramanam is very clear. There is only Brahman, the cause of the world. There is nothing other than Brahman. It is Advayam, with no second entity, and that Advayam Brahma is you. No other meaning is possible. To arrive at any other meaning, you have to twist everything, contort everything. The equation Tattvamasi, you are that Brahman, has two sides. Tat, Ishvara, and Tvam, you, and they are one. Unless you bring Ishvara, there is no equation. Unless the equation is understood, there is no Advaita. The apparent differences between the two sides of the equation, between Ishvara and Jiva, must be understood as Mithya. And there's a footnote here. Mithya is defined as Sad Asadbhyam Anirvachaniyam. This is actually from the Vedanta Sara. Sad Asadbhyam Anirvachaniyam, that which cannot be categorically classified, either as Sat, Satyam, existing in all three periods of time, or as Asat, non-existent. What is Mithya is dropped. What remains then is one Advayam truth. In spite of the apparent differences, Vedanta Shastra reveals the oneness of Ishvara and Jiva. This is not easy to understand without understanding Ishvara. And to understand Ishvara, Vedanta Shastra is the only available pramana. Nayayikas, a group of logicians, claims Ishvara can be established by logic. Sakartrakam karyam. Every product must have a maker. A pot implies the pot maker. When you see a pot, you appreciate the existence of a maker. Similarly, a prasada, mansion, implies a karta. In the same way, when you see the jagat, it is clear that it is put together, assembled, and therefore it is a karyam for which there must be a karta, a creator. The problem with such examples is they are all within the jagat. Being within the jagat, the mansion is not a correct example to cite for proving that the jagat has a creator. It is not possible to give an example. Further, how do we know jagat is a karyam? Somebody else may say the jagat was always there. Even if one were to accept the example, how do we establish that there is only one karta? Idam jagat vaichitra chitrikritam. Idam jagat vaichitra chitrikritam. The world consists of a variety of things. Even in the creation of a mansion, there are several people involved: carpenters, masons, their supervisors and assistants, and the architects, structural engineer, etc. So too in the creation of this jagat, there must be many creators. How can you say there is only one karta? You cannot establish that the creator is only one. Logic has no vyavastha, no definite end. Yato va imani bhutani jayante, from which the creation of the jagat comes about. Yena jatani jivanti, by which all that is born is sustained. Tat prayanti abhisamvishanti, and unto which everything resolves, is presented as the lakshanam of Brahman. This definition of Brahman as the cause of everything is called the tatastha lakshanam. And there is a footnote here: for a clear understanding of tatastha and swarupa lakshana, one has to study Vedanta in detail. This has to be understood clearly. Brahma Sutra, which analyzes the knowledge in the Shastra, in the first sutra, Atthato Brahma Jignasa, raises the question of the desire to know, the inquiry into Brahman. Since there is a desire to know Brahman, the sutra gives the lakshana of Brahman in the next verse: Janmadi asya yataha. Both these sutras draw from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Vijignasasva in the Taittiriya Upanishad is presented as Brahma Jignasa, and the word yato from the Upanishad is used in the second sutra as yataha. That from which this jagat has come, which sustains the jagat and to which the jagat resolves, is Brahman. This is the only lakshanam of Brahman. The words yataha, yena, and yat, from which, by which, and into which in the Upanishad Vakya, are all represented by the word yataha in this sutra. The suffix that is used here, tasal pratyaya, has this versatility. This lakshana of Brahman, presented as Jagat Karanam, is Ishvara. That Brahman thou art, you are. There is no other way of proving your being Jagat Karanam. There is no other pramanam available. Without the Shastra, one cannot make the statement, the Jagat Karanam Brahma is I. Only Shruti Pramanam can tell you that. That is the truth, the vision of the Shastra. Bring a pramanam, it does not require another pramanam to corroborate. It is swataha pramanam. You see me, you hear me. Seeing is not contradicted by hearing, and hearing is not contradicted by seeing. The ears do not have to collaborate with the eyes to prove the seeing. Eyes see, ears hear. Each pramanam is a proof by itself, swataha pramanam. Once we accept that Shastra, the Shruti is a pramanam, you have no basis to deny what it says. You cannot even say, I do not believe in it. What is the basis for you to say you do not believe in it? I say there is a valley of flowers in the Himalayas. It is near Badrinath, and in the spring you will find a lot of flowers, a riot of colors. You can describe it in detail. By such description, you get to have some knowledge of the places. Suppose the person says, I do not believe it. On what basis can he say that? The best he can do is to say, I feel such a place cannot exist. Feeling is not pramanam. There is no pramanam to use as a basis. The words of the Shastra, therefore, does not require your corroboration. We referred to this earlier. It doesn't require your will. Vedanta is a pramanam, being in the Veda. There can be no basis for saying, I do not believe in what the Veda says. One cannot simply say, I do not think what the Veda says is correct, because it is an independent pramanam. It requires neither validation by your eyes, nor does it require validation by your ears. It is a pramanam by itself because it is not pratyaksha or anumanam or arthapatti or upamanam. It is not perception or inference or multi-step inference or presumption or comparison. The self exists and therefore is not an object of anupalabdhi, the means of knowledge by which you recognize absence of a thing. Vedanta pramanam does not require any corroboration because it has its own sphere, independent of the spheres of operation of the other pramanams. Then, how will I prove that it is a pramanam? There is only one way. A pramanam has to prove itself, svataha. It has to prove itself, not parataha. Its validity cannot be established by another pramanam. Let me give you an example. There is a person who was born blind. He has lived 30 years of his life in that state and he continues to be blind. He has never seen colors or anything in the world. He knows of the world only by sparsha, touch. Now a new surgical procedure has been developed in a particular hospital in New York. By this new procedure, his blindness can be corrected and his vision can be restored. He raises sufficient money, goes to New York and gets the operation done. After the surgery, they keep the eyes closed for 2 to 3 days. Then the surgeon comes and removes the bandage. He is sure of himself and asks the patient to open his eyes. Our friend refuses to open his eyes, saying, prove to me that my eyes will see, only then will I open them. If I open my eyes and I am unable to see, I will have a heart attack and may even die. Therefore, before I open my eyes, please prove to me that my eyes can see. The American doctor does not make any promise. He says, there is no reason why you should not see. What if I do not? Asks the patient. The doctor says, if I were you, I would open my eyes. There is no reason why you should not see. Still, this man refuses to open his eyes and insists on a proof. How can the doctor prove to him that his eyes will see? There is no other way of proving to him that he can see the world except through his own eyes. The doctor has to forcibly open his eyes. It is the only solution because his eyes alone have to prove themselves. Svataha pramanam. It is the only way to prove it. Any pramanam, to see whether it is a pramanam or not, you have to employ the pramanam, operate that means of knowledge and see if it works or not. This is the only way to prove it. There is no other way. Quote, I do not believe, unquote, is a thoughtless argument. It is not a matter of belief. A pramanam does not require another pramanam to prove it. It proves itself, especially when what it conveys is the self-evident you. This is a very important thing to note. That is how a pramanam works. Knowing what a pramanam is, your wish or will has no role to play. You do not decide the subject matter of the pramanam, whether it is right or wrong. You allow the pramanam to work. Upanishad, the book, the words as pramanam, reveals the subject matter. Next section, the teaching parampara. Being a pramanam that reveals through words, they have to be handled by a teacher. The book consists of 2 types of sentences, Brahmanas and mantras, called Brahmanopanishad and Mantropanishad. Brahmanas are in the form of prose and mantras are hymns. Mantras follow meter and are governed by certain rules. Brahmanas, being pros, follow only rules of grammar. Here is the complication. To know the meaning of any one mantra, you have to know all the mantras. The word here, the footnote here, the word mantra is used to refer to any sentence of the Vedas, Upanishads. Otherwise, that mantra will not make sense. Yet you cannot know all the mantras unless you know each mantras. So to have an understanding of the entire book, you have to study each mantra and understand it. To understand a given mantra, you have to bring the wisdom of the total to bear upon a given mantra. This is a catch-22 situation. This happens in our daily lives also. There is a person who is mentally challenged. His parents have been told that he will become alright once he gets married. The problem is that unless he gets mentally alright, nobody will give his daughter to him in marriage. Everybody in the village knows about his condition. Therefore, his parents decide to find someone from outside the village, someone who may not know about this person's mental condition. So the girl's parents come to visit, and the boy has been tutored to sit quietly and not talk. He is a good-looking person from a well-to-do family. The girl's parents are impressed and decide to marry their daughter to this person. As they come out of the house, they meet Somu, a neighbor. He tells them, he is a good boy. Anyway, Bhagwan is there, he will look after everything. The girl's parents want to know what he is implying. Nothing really, he tells them. It is just that sometimes he talks to himself. What? No, please do not think much of it. He is a good boy. Now and then he will laugh at himself also. That's all. But he's a good boy. That's it. No marriage. Until he gets married, the local doctor has said that he will not be normal. To get married, he has to become normal. Unless he becomes normal, nobody will give him his daughter in marriage. If somebody does want to give him his daughter, there is a somu to reckon with. This is called Anyonya Ashraya. Anyonya Ashraya. Unless I know all the mantras, I cannot understand a single mantra in the proper context. In the whole scheme, every mantra has its place, and therefore to know one mantra, you have to know all the mantras. Without knowing one mantra, you cannot go to the next mantra. What shall we do with this catch-22, this Anyonya Ashraya? Shruti itself has the answer. Gurumeva abhigachet. Go to a teacher. We have already established the importance of a teacher. How did the teacher get it? Because he is Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. He got it from his teacher. How did that teacher get it? From his or her teacher. How did that teacher get it? From his or her teacher. Who then is the original teacher? We answer that by asking another question. Can you tell me who is your first father or mother? You might say Bharadwaja, the rishi who started that lineage. Good. You can count from him down. But then who is his father? Bharadwaja is the son of Bharadwaja. Who is Bharadwaja's father? And his father and his father? An evolutionist may say it was a monkey. But monkey also had a father. Who is the original father? You have no choice but to end in Ishvara. Even now Ishvara is the father. Father implies mother also. Ishvara is the first parent. At any point in time, Ishvara is still the parent. The current parents are also within the order of Ishvara. So too, the original teacher, the first teacher is Ishvara. The source of every form of knowledge, every discipline of knowledge is Ishvara. We think that we are the authors of certain knowledge, etc. It is not at all true. If all knowledge is Ishvara and all that is here is all knowledge alone, then any knowledge is Ishvara. We are only given the means of knowledge to scrape off ignorance. It is like a lottery ticket. In the lottery ticket, a portion is covered by ink. You take a coin and scrape off the ink. Then what is printed underneath becomes visible. If you get 4 roses, you will be given $5,000. If you buy a ticket for $10 and you buy a ticket with $10 and begin to scrape off the ink. The first one is invariably a rose. Then second one also turns out to be a rose. Then with a heart beating fast, you scrape off some more ink. The third one is also a rose. Now you very carefully scrape off the last of the ink. You see a petal and the heart beats even faster. You carefully scrape off some more. The year of a cat is revealed. That is your $10 Danam gift to the person who sold you the ticket. This is a very good example. We are given the means of knowledge to scrape off ignorance. All knowledge is there in consciousness. You scrape off a given object ignorance, and object knowledge is revealed. You keep on scraping off ignorance. You scrape with the help of various pramanams, scrape with the help of Bhagwan's grace, with the help of the teaching you receive. The scraping off using a pramanam is knowing. The object is given, the object has a certain truth about it, that is given. The means of knowledge is given. Then you scrape off using the means of knowledge. Here, means of knowledge is Shastra, handled by a teacher who has an overall vision of the Shastra by having studied from a teacher. Therefore, Bhagavan is the real teacher. Dakshinamurti is the teacher. He scrapes off in the form of the words handled by a teacher. Knowledge is gained this way and only in this way. Pramanam that is properly handled alone will do the job. If it is not properly handled, it may even do harm to the person. Therefore, you require a Shotriya to teach you the words of the Shastra. Om Tat Sat. With this, we conclude the book Pramana Vicara, an inquiry into the nature of knowledge by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.